Well, on a smelt side, up to maybe 195, we have Charles Baker of Charles Baker Wines working strongly with Stratus, squaring off firmly against his opponent from Prince Edward County, Norman Hardie. Charles Baker, you have 5 minutes.
If God had meant us to drink Chardonnay, she wouldn't have given us Riesling. Thank you. You mentioned the I4C conference, the International Chardonnay Conference, just held recently. A great success based on espousing the virtues of Chardonnay, a fantastic grape variety. Matt Kramer, a world-renowned international author, was paid to come to Ontario to speak about Chardonnay, and at a luncheon attended by 100 devoted Ontario wine fans, he urged all Ontario winemakers to make more Gamay. Randall Graham, who is the Randall Graham of Bonnie Doon fame of California, came to Ontario, and he was visiting Cave Spring where I worked. I was a server on the 20, and I remember Randall Graham going into Michael Olson's kitchen and scribbling on the wall, "Smash the Chardonnay-centric paradigm." And from that point on, it became my mission. Why waste good Riesling land growing Chardonnay, a grape that is considered neutral on the vine and has to be manipulated within an inch of its life, to taste like something that comes from elsewhere? You know, you've heard it. Oh, it's a Chardonnay, it's a California style, or oh, we are striving for a Burgundian style Chardonnay. Proudly, Ontario winemakers look baffled when confronted with similar comparisons. For their Riesling, it tastes like Niagara Riesling.
Rapier-like, pointed, sharp are all words used to describe Riesling. Chris and Charles, I hope you don't hold it against me that you've been forced to bring a knife to a gunfight. With Chardonnay, we can make it in different styles. We can make decisions on how we're going to grow the grapes, but also how we're going to make the wine. With Riesling, the difficulty is we can make some decisions on how to grow the grapes, and then treating ourselves like simpletons, the wine makes itself in the tank, and we end up with what Riesling wants to do as opposed to what I look on myself as at we, the humans, the creators, the people that want to have a positive influence on things around us. We can actually do that with Chardonnay as opposed to with Riesling, which we're forced to do what Riesling wants to be. You were right, Charles, that Riesling is an interesting product because it can have noble rot, and it can be early picked, and it can be late picked, and basically you're still searching for a way to make the darn stuff taste good.
I come not to bury Chardonnay. I like Chardonnay. Some of my best friends make Chardonnay. But when it comes to Ontario, and that's really what the brief is. The brief was to talk about the darling for Ontario wine, and that's what we're talking about. There is really only one white grape. It's the Alpha and the Omega. It is the once and future king. It is Riesling. Riesling is the be-all, end-all. And pick this same day, any month of the year, I will have a Riesling that will go perfectly with the scene and the context, the friends, the food, everything that's going. I can't say the same of some of the big buttery Chardonnays that are about to be poured in about half an hour's time. It's just not going to be refreshing. And basically, what makes a great wine? A great wine is any wine that invites you to have another sip. Some of those Chardonnays today are just going to be too ponderous and too oaky and too buttery. All the Rieslings, however, are going to be like the great Berlinish phrase I heard the last time I was in Berlin, and I heard someone say it, and it kind of made a lot of sense to me, and this is going to be great on Jamie's tape. I heard an entire table spit take when this old grandmother said something, and it was then translated for me, and she had just had a glass of Riesling, and she said, "It's like an angel peed on my tongue."
I traveled the world for 6 years, and the only place I found a combination of right temperatures, summer temperatures, not winter, soils for Chardonnay, outside of Burgundy, and outside of a small region in New Zealand, was here in Ontario. So ultimately, that's where your soil and your climate is your ultimate determinant of flavor, and we have those. Ultimately, that why Chardonnay's here to stay, and as what Bill was saying, is ABC's been around for 25 years, and guess what keeps going? Chardonnay, Chardonnay, Chardonnay. And I much prefer, I hate to say it, I'd rather have a glass of Yellowtail than a glass of Blue Nun at the end of the day.
Through much tasting of wine, through eating of food, through bravado, through bullshit, absolute
Right.
crap, actually, was spun on both sides. We have a result. I sent away to, I outsourced to Mississauga to actually get the results. And we finally have the results, which are, the darling grape for Ontario is Riesling.
Ah.